Welcome to another edition of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom,
And I'm Brandon.
and we're going to discuss the week of December 2nd through December the 6th. And we're going to begin talking about our storylines of the week, where we'll go back and forth discussing our thoughts. You ready, Brandon?
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, sounds good. All right, first of all, Lulu. She is back and she's talking and she is doing fine. And so this week we discover Lulu spends the week kind of visiting with some of her family members, and they give her the backstory of things that have occurred while she was in her coma. So she meets with Rocco, she meets with Dante, Lucky, Laura, and Kevin. I kind of found all of these conversations to be kind of fascinating, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching her storyline. She has not met with Maxie yet, so hopefully that'll be coming up soon. But I think that, and as a way for introduction, I like the way that she has met with each of them individually and how they've been able to give their perspective and let her know what's going on. And I thought they've done a nice job in the introduction. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
Oh, yes. I mean, for Lulu's reintroduction, I like that we're able to get, reintroduced to her, one. So, for those who don't know, like myself, anything about Lulu, we're learning a bit about her and her personality, who she is now and who she was. But in the same regard, I'm liking that they're not, per se, hiding her from what's changed, that it's not like she's living in a fantasy world. She knows about she knows about what happened with Sam. She knows about the situation with her children, about Nicholas, about Spencer. So we're getting a little bit of everything sort of thrown at her, and I guess it's nice for us new viewers to get reacquainted with the show.
Yes. Now, we won't talk about believability in all of this, but for the soap opera sense, I think they're doing a nice job reintroducing her to the members of the cast.
And I would say that in terms of believability purposes, while we're not going to per se speak about that from a medical standpoint, but I will say from a show standpoint, I can 100% believe that she is indeed a Spencer.
Yes, yes, she is. And they have said that over and over again that she is a Spencer. All right. And the next thing I want to talk about is the trial. Although we didn't really see much of the trial per se, we're kind of seeing the after effects of the trial this week. And so we learned that Kristina is someone who wants, of course, Ava to lose. So she wants her to be found guilty. She really believes that Ava was the reason for her fall and the death of her baby. Molly is actually a little different now. Molly believes that everything was an accident. And so she has followed along with how her father has presented everything. And she does not agree with the way her father did it, but she agrees with the final result and that it is an accident. This, of course, TJ does not think that. Actually, I'm not quite sure. TJ kind of knows someone's guilty. He's I don't know if he's come out and just point blank said he thinks it's Ava that's guilty because he blames Kristina too. I just think that he just doesn't think it's an accident. And so that's how they're kind of disagreeing there is that TJ doesn't think it's an accident, but but Molly thinks it is an accident. Alexis, they have not quite said what she believes, but I have a feeling she's leaning a little bit more towards Molly. Um, but in this case, regardless, we during most of the week we don't know the verdict. Once we do find out the verdict, and spoiler alert, Ava is found not guilty. We do see the reaction of the family. We do see that Kristina and Molly go at it again. Um, to me, it's a friendlier go at it, if they can say that, but they go at it again, and they both disagree with each other. Um, and then this kind of goes a little further because at this point in time, Molly and TJ have decided to separate. And so Molly is going to go live right now with Alexis, and then TJ is going to remain in, I guess, the apartment or whatever it is that he lives in. And so, for trial purposes, that's what's going on with the trial. Ava, of course, is happy that she's been acquitted, and now she's asking to see her daughter Avery, which apparently that she hasn't talked about in I don't know how long, but it's now decided she needs to see her, and Sunny reluctantly has agreed to it. All right, Brandon, what your thoughts, and did I leave anything out?
No, I mean, like you're saying, yeah, Ava's found not guilty. Sunny reluctantly, agrees for Ava to see her daughter, well, their daughter Avery, and I think for the most part, like you said, it's a calmer falling out between Christina and Molly, but in the same regard, I feel like Molly is just sort of done with everyone in the world. So I think whereas before she'd get into a whole argument, and I think for now she's like, I have the power to not do anything, and I just choose to leave.
Yeah, and that's basically the way they ended it. And then we have the next storyline I'm going to discuss, and just a few more after this, is really has to do with Anna, Brennan, Jason, and Carly. And this actually involves Charlotte, of all things, all people. And at this point in time, Anna would like to reach Valentine in regards to getting a hold of Charlotte. She would like for Lulu, since she's awake now, to be able to see her daughter. And so Anna does speak to Brennan, and Jason speaks to Brennan in regards to what can they do to get to Valentine in order to get to Charlotte. And that Jason has promised that if they could get to Charlotte, that all he wants is just Charlotte. And that he's not going to touch Valentine at all. He just really wants to bring Charlotte back in town for her mother's sake. And in the midst of all of this, Anna actually speaks to Carly and Spinelli along with him, and they decide to put a bug in Brenna's office. And so Carly does do this. And Jason becomes very upset when he finds out about it because he knows as an federal agent or whatever the WSB is that at this point in time that someone could come in at any time and sweep his office for bugs because he is a federal or a world security agent. Um, and so he's not happy about that. But they do hear a little bit of a conversation between Brennan and someone on the phone. Um, Bran, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, you forgot about Spinelli.
Oh, I'm sorry. How can I forget about Spinelli? Spinelli is there, kind of working his magic and listening to everything and trying to get everything taken care of on the back end.
What you're saying? He's not just setting up an internet server for Anna?
Oh, of course not. Yes, that was funny. They did make that comment about Spinelli setting up being an internet server for Anna of all things. But go ahead, Fran.
But nevertheless, though, I mean, I thought that was a very interesting plot, and I would like to say that I would hope that I know that it seems like Brennan is calling up Valentine, even though he said that he has no idea where he is. I would like to see that he truly actually doesn't know. That's what I would like to see. Just sort of throw everybody off, and that this is a misdirect. The show is great for its misdirects, and we're seeing a little bit more as to Brennan's assistant as well.
Yeah, we have someone named Colette who's there. So I don't know, if she's going to end up being a bad person through all this. The setup to me kind of implies that, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, and speaking of Colette and Brennan, um, I found it interesting sort of their dynamic and how she is more, from what it looks like, a plays by the rules person, whereas Brennan is just bending at will to Carly. But I found it interesting that as soon as Carly left, Brennan said, "I wish I was as good as she thought I was." So I'm curious as to if we're going to get some Brennan heavy storylines for his character development coming up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because Brennan, well, there are quite a few of them out there who don't really have a storyline right now. And so to me, this is kind of stretching it with Charlotte, but it's still, I do like Brennan, and I'm glad they've kind of added him to the cast. All right, next storyline, Deception, and this is going to be very short. Deception had a broadcast this week on Friday, and really, is Lois is actually the really the star in this sense, or who they were focusing on as a character. And so Lois began the scene, using her like fake, do I say fake accent or her non-accent? And so she's kind of called out by one of the viewers, and she decides, of course, to bring back her Brooklyn accent and say very proudly she's from Bensonhurst and everything like that. And of course, Deception made a lot of money based upon Lois coming out. That to me was the only thing going on with Deception. I'm not quite sure why they've kind of put this in the midst of everything, or maybe it's just a way of having some little lightheartedness in the midst of everything. But I was glad to see Lois back. Brandon, your thoughts about the Deception storyline?
Well, right in time for holiday season, Deception is now a real product line.
Yes, it is. You and I both looked online, and it is a real product.
Yes, and so I know that we came across the website like a week or two ago, but the promo for it came on right in the commercial break, so maybe it's a little promo to get some viewers doing some holiday shopping.
Yeah, very clever and nicely done. And I always wondered what that Deceptor looked like, so it was interesting to see what it was.
Still
It,
not exactly sure what it does.
I'm not sure what it does, and it was interesting to see that they gave it a look. But anyway, all right. So next storyline after that has to do with Curtis and Jordan, and really Drew also. Although Drew really wasn't seen this much this week. Um, Curtis has found out from Michael that Drew really does not want him to be in charge, be the CEO of the company, and so Curtis at this point is speaking to Jordan in regards to this, and to kind of get her opinion and to let her know what his thoughts are. And he's, in fact, it looks like he's seeking some revenge, not revenge like Sonny revenge, but it looks like he's trying to seek some sort of revenge in regards to this. It really is just mentioned very briefly because TJ kind of interrupted them, but it's enough to say that that Curtis is thinking about this and trying to figure out how to react to Drew. All right, Brian.
Yeah, so yeah, this was definitely interesting, and I like the Curtis Jordan dynamic that they've been having. The two exes talking it out, and I like that whereas Curtis is trying to figure out his next steps, Jordan's just like, oh well, you just need to, play both sides and just sort of, go after both of them, and so. Yeah, I would like to see sort of Curtis go down this arc. I mean, taking down Drew's one thing, but taking down Michael as well.
Yeah, and it might actually be amusing, and I hope Curtis kind of wins in this regard. All right. Next storyline, last one that I think stands out. It has to deal with actually Cody, Dante, and Brooklyn. And they had a conversation that I thought was kind of interesting because they are now adding in history. They referred to a time when they were younger, when they were in camp. And at that time, Brooklyn talked a little bit about knowing Dante and Cody at this camp. And I don't recall them. I know that Dante and Brooklyn kind of grew up somewhat together, but I don't recall them being that deep about the conversation ever before. And the fact that they went to summer camp together, different camp, but they were kind of in this, I guess maybe boys and girls camp. I'm not sure. But anyway, I don't remember them giving much depth about this before. And so they made a point of having this long conversation about camp, which makes me wonder what they're going to bring up from the past from all three of them, that'll kind of pop up. Brand, any thoughts on your behalf?
Yeah. So first of all, they mentioned Tracy Quartermain within that, and we haven't actually seen her. Yeah, I think in a few weeks now.
Yeah, she's been missing.
But yeah, and so like I said, they've spoken about her throughout the week and last week as well. And in terms of this added history, I thought it was somewhat interesting that that they brought this up and that Cody's involved in this as well. And Cody's not checking his phone, even though he's still at the stable, and it seems during work hours. I'm surprised with Tracy living one building over. I'm surprised she just didn't walk over, since she seems to have they established that she comes over all times of the day and night.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know if they're leading to a storyline for Geo or not. Geo has given his backstory, and but somehow he's yet to be related to anyone in Port Charles. When we all know he's related to someone, the question is who, and in what regards. So I don't know if they're kind of leading us down that line to give a point to having Geo in the storyline or not. All right. And that's all I have this week for storylines of the week. Brandon, did I leave any out?
There were a few minor things that I just wanted to point out. Like we have Trina being very upset about her project.
Yes, yes. Trina is still upset about the project and this young man, and this project must have an extended deadline. But yeah,
Well, yeah. Well, from the way that she described it, is that this is the final project, and that whoever this professor is the biggest name in art history, and so she really wants to make a point to present to it. Kai's not for it. Just some other notes as well as that. It seems that either between Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday, we seem to have like a day break in there because everyone's in different places at the beginning of the episode.
yeah, yeah. That transition was not that great, but and they referred to conversations that occurred. Meaning, I think it's specifically TJ and Molly. There was a conversation that I think supposedly occurred that we never saw.
Yeah, and the last thing is that we did see that Jordan got a lovely visitor.
Yeah, Jordan did get a visit from Isaiah because all of a sudden Jordan is now a lawyer. I mean, quote unquote, not quote, but and she's doing some insider. It's not trading, but insider deals, which I think is interesting too. And she's acting like she knows about contracts when she, in fact, is a police officer by trade, now deputy mayor, but neither makes her someone who knows anything about contracts. And she discussed the contract without even looking at the contract to know how much he was really making. I mean, he meaning Isaiah. She wants Isaiah to ask for more money.
So yeah, definitely some interesting dealings.
Yeah, interesting dealings there. Did I leave anything else out?
I think that overall covered it. I mean, it was a pretty condensed week with a few outliers.
All right. All right, so let's talk now about our performers of the week. And so for me, my performer of the week was really it was Lulu. She to me stood out as being the performer of the week. And then I had a couple part twos. I had Laura for my second person, and then because I thought Laura gave the first genuine feeling of when she saw Lulu. I mean, she did drop everything to run to her, whereas everyone else just looked at her and said, Lulu. When you see someone who's been in a coma, who's walking around free for, for the since 4 years ago, I should think you should be dropping something, and and so everyone else did. They were in awe, but they didn't. They didn't sound look as surprised as the way Laura did. And then I thought Molly, for me, was one that I thought did a really nice job this week. And who are your performers of the week, Brandon?
Well, first of all, for the big one, I was going to give Lulu as well.
Okay.
And then for the smaller ones, I was also going to give Laura. And
Okay.
yeah, and then I guess continuing on the same track as you, I was actually going to say TJ.
TJ. Okay. TJ did have a breaking down moment. I will give him that.
Yeah,
And
and
he did.
especially considering that he seems to be breaking out with everyone.
Yeah, he is breaking down with everyone. He's doing a nice job acting as the broken down dad. So, yes. All right. And then, as for amusing moments of the week, first of all, there's Lois, of course, of the deception. And then I was amused by Maxie and Dante's conversation in regards to Lulu, because the first thing Maxie said was like, "When is she kind of going to see me? You bringing her to me?" And so I really liked their conversation because it was a little bit more lighthearted. Curtis made a line, and I cannot remember his exact line in regards to the journal that TJ was supposed to deliver back. I do not remember exactly what he said, but I knew it made me laugh out loud. So Curtis gave me an amusing moment of the week also. All right, Bran, who your amusing moments of the week? Or
Okay,
what were
so
your amusing? Go ahead.
yeah, okay. So I was going to mention two, but now that you've mentioned yours, I want to change on. But the two I was originally going to say was Benelli speaking about the internet server with Anna and Jason. I thought that was pretty funny. And the other one was with Cody telling Dante that when you see Lulu, give her this lollipop and tell her that she owes me $20. Um,
Yeah.
I thought that was great, but I'm gonna change that. It's gonna be like what you were saying with Curtis and TJ. TJ finds Molly's old journal, and TJ's like, "Well, I can just pull out some matches, and we can burn it and watch it." And so,
Yeah. And that was exactly what he said. And I just started laughing. I thought that was really funny.
but yeah, and so that yeah, that's definitely it for me.
Alrighty. And then as for heartwarming chats of the week, there were so many of them this week. I will list them all. I don't think there's much explanation needed for them, but it has to. A lot of them deal with Lulu, but Lulu and Laura, and then Lulu and Lucky. Um, Alexis and Molly had a nice conversation that I liked. Dante and Sunny had a conversation, nice conversation. Jason and Danny, I thought, had the most, like, to me, the poignant conversation in regards to his mother. And then we have TJ, of course, with Curtis, and then with TJ and Jordan also. So those are my kind of conversations of the week. A lot of heartwarming thingies going on. All right, Fred, your thoughts for heartwarming moments?
Yeah, so first of all, it seems that Lulu has had a heartwarming conversation with everyone, and Dante has had drinks in a therapy session with everyone.
Yes, yes, with Cody and Sunny. Yes, he has.
Uh, but but going a little bit further, it made me think about another funny moment, and that was from earlier in the week, where Jason and Drew were having a like a powwow, because Drew's like, "I'm going to move out with Scout," and then Carly shows up out of the bushes from nowhere.
Yeah, Carly likes to hang out in the bushes, so I found that amusing too. So I totally agree with that one for amusing moments of the week. I'm sorry I didn't think about that one earlier, but yes.
But yeah, so that's definitely quite interesting. And in terms of the heartwarming, uh, I'm going to say I like Alexis trying to hold her daughters together in anticipation that things were going to go awry right before the trial uh, ended on Friday's episode.
Yes. All right. And then as for fast forward moments of the week, I didn't have any this week. I mean, they kept the plot kind of moving along. Did you have a fast forward moment this week?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, not really. Although I guess one side note is that we did have a whole thing with Brad and Stella at some point.
Oh, yeah, yeah, them. Um, they did have a nice little heartwarming conversation. I'm sorry they didn't make my cut of the week, but they did have a nice heartwarming conversation. All right. And then as for creative backstory or history reinvention, which I think they're in the mode of doing right now, has to do with Cody, Dante, and Brooklyn, to try to give them a little bit of backstory there. Any other creative backstories or history reinvention for you?
Not to my knowledge, other than, yeah, I mean, not really.
Okay. All right. And then welcome back, Kevin. So this week, my welcome back goes to Kevin. And did you have a welcome back moment?
No, not really. We've been looking for him for quite a while.
Yeah. And then have the where are they? And we've already discussed this. Where is Tracy? Tracy is missing. And then I also want to say Nina because I don't think I think it's been a little while since she's been on too, or at least a few episodes. So where are they in the fact of Tracy and Nina? All right, Brandon, what about you?
Well, yeah, well, definitely both of them, and for me, I think mine would actually go more so in terms of storylines. Like, I feel like we haven't had a Carly storyline in forever, other than her tagging on to other people's.
Yeah, we do not have a true Carly storyline, and that is very true. And I do miss Carly having her own storyline.
And Jocelyn.
Yeah, Jocelyn's just kind of back in the back also. Um, yeah, so I would look like for them to have one, and like I said, I don't want it attached to Charlotte. So I kind of want them all to have their storylines like they have had before. All right. And as for next week, I would like to see more of Lulu because I'm kind of intrigued right now. And then Michael, because as we know, he's leaving the cast. So, and his last air date, from my understanding, is sometime in January, based upon the rumors like all of you guys have read. So, I would like to see how Michael kind of is going to wrap himself up and what's going to happen with Willow. So I think that's what I have, Brandon. What do you have for what you would like to see next week?
Well, two things. One, I want a clarification as to like days and times, because yeah, looking back at last week, I believe when Lulu hitchhiked out of the Turning Meadows, Turning Woods,
Whatever. Yes.
yeah, whatever facility that she was in, and went with Cody. Cody mentioned the date, and the date was a few days before Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thanksgiving was like was a little bit ago now, so I guess we're not getting any Thanksgiving. But are we still actually like a week or two behind real life now?
That's a good question. I have a feeling they're speeded up for Christmas now. So that is a good question. I will say I missed the Quartermain Thanksgiving. That's something I look forward to each year. I'd like to see them eating pizza. I would have liked to see Jason join the Quartermains and eating of the pizza with the children and Drew and Michael and everyone trying to keep everything the peace between them. That would have been kind of fun to watch. But like you said, right now we've moved past that. I guess we have, and we're moving on to the holidays. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of bring that up or what they'll do.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see like what happens there, and yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see like so the storylines continuing to grow and progress, and yeah, and I would like to see these some of these new characters that we have that seem to be regulars like now like Lulu and all of them be added to the intro.
Yeah, it's time for them to update their intro. All right. Well, I thank all of you guys for watching today. Please, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe so you know exactly when we're going to air another one of our Port Charles chats. And we look forward to doing this again next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, everybody. Have a great day.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye bye.